Welcome back to Seablock. It's time to carry on from last episode. You'll notice things have changed a little bit around here. I've basically rearranged things, so we've got a blast furnace set up. We've seen these before, I would hope, so there's nothing too unconventional here. What you have seen, probably missing now, is the sorting machines for our lead and tin. And you'll see I'm almost out of tin, actually. I had a huge stock in a box, but that is been quickly reused because I'm doing a lot of research. At the moment we're researching plastics, which is where we're heading towards the blue science. It needs a few other things. Let me just see, where is it? It's in, let's just look for pack, maybe? Advanced electronics, there it is. So the blue science pack is advanced electronics. That needs plastics, it needs silicon processing, and it needs resin 1. So resin 1, so it gets resin, that's fine, straightforward. Silicon processing is also fine, and we'll be able to make silicon wafers with that once we be able to get silicon. So for a lot of this stuff we need more robust amounts of metal, lots of it, which of course unfortunately with with Seablock means we need a lot more space. So I ran out of space down here. I was moving everything out, and I ran sort of into a bundle of very friendly biters. There they are. If we get a little bit closer, they get even friendlier. Whoop, there they go. Like giant maggots. I tried to put a turret down. See, hey, can't the turret just destroy them? No, the turret can't just destroy them. They turn around and destroy the turret quite easily, in fact. So we need to advance our military tech to expand out beyond a certain degree. However, that's fine. We can go out quite a bit more to the left just yet. So this episode, I wanted to cover a couple of things. One is I added a couple of mods. I added the water fill mod, which is what's in this small little factory here. It's just a recipe. It takes in water. It's a mod that's separate to the main Seablock pack, and it just lets me pick up some of this. Let me just put actually all that back and just take one stack. And wherever I want water, I can just pick this up, and let's say I want water here. I can just pop it down. Just like landfill, and it works from water. The rationale is that if we can put in infinite land, we can also take away infinite land. But yeah, we do need to set up a machine to make it. We can't handcraft water. I don't know how good you are at placing water, but I'm not terribly good at it. In which case, we've got a machine to do it for us. The other one I put in was nanobots, and nanobots I don't particularly like as a rule in that it's early game stuff, so I'm really limiting it. I'm not using, there's two types of nanobots. Where are you? You're in here somewhere. There they are. There is termite mods, bots even, that destroys trees. Doesn't return any items. That's useless in Seablock. Construction bots are the other things. They act much like the construction bots in the regular bot network. However, it doesn't do anything like the fanciness of the main bot network. It doesn't let us request items and have them shipped to us, at least as far as I know. It's really just to help us move stuff around. And in Seablock, there's so much expansion and moving stuff and expansion and moving stuff that the moving stuff becomes a bad part of the gameplay. So although in a regular game, I may not be too much of a fan of nanobots, in this kind of game, I am. It's just one of those things, we need to move stuff around a lot. So it's very handy to be able to do. And I have already done that. I've moved the science a little bit out once. And we'll probably have to do it again before long. Because this is the time when we come to look at the furnace setup. So I moved our tin and lead furnace out. In fact, I deleted it because I thought I had plenty. Don't have plenty. However, what I actually wanted to do is make more. First of all, here we want more mineral sludge, which is the output, and we want more slag slurry, which is the input. Now the slag slurry comes from here, so I optimized things a little bit, if you remember, to make sulfur. Sulfur supplies slag slurry, which is pretty much full, fully available on this pipe, and on the other side that's now full as well. So that goes down and around. Underneath, where are you? Underneath here? No, not quite. Where are you going? You have to be going somewhere. Are you orphaned now? Because I've removed stuff. Ah, no, there it is. Yeah, it goes across there and into our machines. But we don't even need that one, or at least we will do shortly, but not just yet. Into our crystallizers, they're going to convert that into ore, but they are quite relatively slow. We've got enough to feed them all constantly, so they're all on, but they're just producing iron and copper. So, first of all, I'm just going to add another one of these. Now, I think I originally only had 2. I've added 1. I think I should probably add another one. I think I've already got one in my inventory. So let's just make sure we have one of those. Let's rotate it. And, oh, near. We can fix that. Let's just move this out. That may need a bit of... Is there a reason why I put it there? It's probably a reason why I put it there, because it will only reach to that far. Yeah, of course, that's the usual reason. And it's fine. We can move it one further out, which will then leave us the room for the other filtration plant. And that's going to go there, hopefully. We may need to put more of these into circulation, our filters. But I will then get that sorted out. I'm not going to do that on camera. And then we'll go on to looking at maybe more advanced furnace stuff. Alright, that's set up. So to give you an idea of the problem with nanobots, and here's the major downside. Unlike a bot network, or at least unlike a bot network unless it's fired upon by biters or something like that, nanobots are finite. You have to keep on making them. They get used. They're an ammo type, essentially. They're just like a gun. So try not to run out of those when you're actually partway through a deconstruction. Not that I've ever done that. Because then you're going to be placing stuff manually, and that can get tiresome. So let's first of all, let me just place this electrolyzer, then I'll show you what I mean. Electrolyzer, Mark II. So we're going to convert this one, third up from the bottom, Mark II, and I'm just going to keep doing that. Now, I took the bottom one out when I added the ones at the top, or at least I rearranged that between the episodes. I can't remember if I did that on camera. But we've now got these 2 lines of slag. One is coming all the way from this line up here, and I removed essentially the crushed stone entirely. We're not using it at all anymore, which means the algae farms are dead. All of this is essentially dead. It's just I don't want to actually try and remove that with all that amount of algae in the system, so I can just wait for it to empty very slowly. And these 2 lines are okay-ish. It's got an output priority here to make sure our ore system is fed. And on this side, we're getting, obviously, lots of landfill. Okay, so that was the previous episode. I'm just going to keep doing that very slowly. Nanobots. So nanobots are quite welcome. I do not have the mod which just automatically deletes blueprints. I can't remember what it is in the main Angel and Bob's, but it could be an option. If anyone remembers, please do it in the comments below. That would be useful. But I do have blueprints that I can create, of course, just like this one. And we can put them in the usual place, either the game blueprints or my blueprints, etc. I'll just put this one in the game blueprints for now. And yeah, I need to get rid of these. I can just drop on the floor, I guess. I'll put them in boxes. But again, I have no use for them really being in my inventory like that. They use up space. So if someone does remember what that mod is, I would actually be very enthusiastic about it. In any case, we can get rid of whole bunches of stuff by telling them to deconstruct. So we got the deconstruction planner, of course, but we want to make sure we take a blueprint first. So let's say we want to take all of that. It's self-contained entirely, except for those 2 pipes at the top right-hand side. So those 2 pipes we're going to retain. Everything else we will just save as a blueprint. We're not going to be too fussy about what it's called. It's only a temporary thing, and then we can just say, hey, remember all of this, I just want to deconstruct you, thanks. And all of that should go when the bots realize. Off they go. The other disadvantage is they're going to dump this into your inventory. So if your inventory is usually full, like mine, they're not going to be too good at it. In fact, you can see the count of bots at the bottom right has dropped from 20 to 14. Off they go. Is this going to hit 10? Go on. There you go. It's on 11. So we can move that over to here. Remember, this is the output to our system, so we can move it down here somewhere and have plenty of space for our furnaces. So again, let's just decide where we want this. Pop it back in. So our inputs are going to be top left there. Our outputs we're going to have to move. So I'm just going to put it here for now, I think. I will just reroute all the pipes and we'll just place it down. So off they go. And all processing 1 is finished. And as you can see now is the real problem. They're dropping down in amount, but I have enough resources to make more. Downside, of course, they take iron axe and repair packs. Iron axes are obviously cheap. Repair packs take basic circuit boards. So you can't really do this too early game. You have to have at least a modicum of technology to be able to make these things. There we go. Is that everything put down? I think it is. I think we just need some power. Oh no, they're going to start trying to make those as well. Our nanobots are now in range. So we'll hook it up for power. And then we need a few things to put on the input. But again, that's all straightforward stuff. I'll do it off camera just to demonstrate nanobots. And now we can start moving other stuff in. And one thing I did forget was the water boiler here. Nothing works in that whole setup unless you have the water boiler. However, there is some water right there, which was already there because we're using it for our farms. So that's working perfectly well. I've not fed it in automatically from fuel, but we could actually get fuel down there a lot easier than where I was. Worst case, we can draw off there. Which then means I then wonder why I've got this belt running down here around and back up again, all the way up to this sort of mud making landfill setup that I had there. I don't think we're using it anywhere else. It's going towards our soil setup. So I guess what we can do is just remove this, flip it around, and that's going to object very quickly. And do I want to do anything else with it? No, if we just bring it here, take this out, and we can just put in something like that. So we then, whoops, we then prioritize the right on the output, and that will work exactly the same way as before. And now if we want the mud to go up here, that's spare, we can do. We can just send it underground, specifically underneath here. And then we may have to do, well, actually, no, let's just do this the other way, shall we? Because this makes it easier. There we go. And then we don't have to fiddle around with going back on ourselves and making things untidy. Go underneath here. Cross here. Up 1. Left 1. And then I guess we can just merge it under here somewhere. That's slightly annoying. I can't optimize there. There's a corner. That is slightly annoying, but I will live with it just for the ability to do that. And that now works. So I can then take our deconstruction planner, and I have enough, I was going to say Autobots. Yes, let's not get into copyright territory, but Autobots would be awesome, I guess, when you were telling it to deconstruct everything. But in any case, nanobots will do just fine. And let's just grab all of you. And let's reclaim all of that, giving us a lot more room for everything else. So we can increase their range, by the way. You'll see it's quite short range at the moment. The only downside to doing that is nanobots. Where are they? Nanobots range? Yes, both of those need another technology. Specifically, they need engine, which is 100 of each of these. So I don't quite need it. I guess I could research it. It gives us the engine units and a pump, but otherwise, no, we are working just fine. And that then lets me completely scale this up if I want to. So if I want to copy all of this, I can do. We are going to run into that coast fairly soon, unfortunately. So anything outputting from here, I'll want to send that way. And that does mean I'm going to need to move that site setup out again. But we've now got enough range to move it up. So I will be able to do that. Oh, of course, I'm going to need to refill my nanobots first. So let me move this system out. We've already made it once. We don't want to make it again. Okay, so the nanobots have happily moved our site setup, which means we can now look at our furnace setup. Now, if I haven't mentioned it before, these crystallizers, they are very slow, first of all. But second of all, one crusher, I think it's about 12 or 16. I think it's 16 of these they can actually keep up with. The crushers are very, very fast by comparison. So in order to get lots of these going, or at least get one of these ore crushers running permanently, we need a lot of these crystallizers. We may not be able to afford that just yet, but I think I have built some more. So let's take a blueprint of a few of these. I'm going to need a box to throw these blueprints in, to then throw them away. Otherwise, I'm going to keep filling my inventory. So this sort of package of 5 seems fine. So let's just copy that, shall we? We'll do the shortcut key for creating a new blueprint. But that will do. We'll just create that there. And let's just accept it. And then we can move this across or under the same kind of Y level, whatever you want to actually call this. It's on the Y-axis running up and down. So we can hold it there and keep on moving across until we got it somewhere useful. Maybe there. That looks reasonable. And then we can think about reproducing that. Now, there go our bots. If we've got enough stuff, then they should be able to do all of that. I've got enough copper, certainly, to make more pipe. And that's what they will need. Where's the pipe gone? Ah, there it is. And another crystallizer. Yep, there we go. And they'll start constructing the pipe this side as well. Once I have enough of it. They will anyway. Why aren't you already making that? We'll come back anyway, once they're finished. And then, of course, we can reproduce the rest. Now, there's no reason why we can't do this same setup for the rest of it. I just want to make sure I want to leave enough space, because one of the things we have to get to is the rest of Angel's refining. And that is not simple. Let me demonstrate. Okay, so the last one you can ever get to, I think... in fact, no, that's not the last one. That's the first one. Let me just go through to the last one, first of all. Purified. We want is that the last one? That is the last one. Okay, so purified is the last type of sapphirite we can get to. We can process it through lots and lots of machines. Needs thermal refining, though. But that does give us 3 and 2 copper ore. Unfortunately, from 9 purified sapphirite, but we'll come back to that. It also gives us silicon, nickel, titanium, and zinc. If you remember from earlier in the episode, I said we need, was it zinc and copper? We certainly needed zinc anyway. So we go back through this, and we can make purified sapphirite from sapphirite crystals. That needs thermal refining as well. Okay, it's only one recipe. And in fact, let's just go back one. There's only one recipe for this as well. So that's the only output for this whole thing. Going backwards, from sapphirite chunks to sapphirite crystals, we can add some sulfuric acid to get it. Again, we've already dealt with sulfuric acid. Nothing wrong here. That's the leaching step, and that's chemical refining, which we've not got yet. Sensing a theme here. Sapphirite chunks, can we use them for anything else? Can we just process them directly into ores? I think we can. Yes, so if we want silicon and nickel, we can certainly process in the sapphirite chunks. That might be one useful thing. Can we use anything with this? In fact, hang on. No, there is only one recipe at the top, but once we get to this stage, there should be more than one. Yeah, so we can get to pure titanium, pure uranium. That's very much the same as our starting recipes, but silicon, nickel, and titanium. So if we get to crystals, we can get to titanium. Back into chunks, and this is sort of the recipe that you start out with, kind of. And you start with crushed sapphirite, which is exactly what we're getting right now, converting that into sapphirite chunks, and we get some other bonus stuff as well. Yet more sulfuric wastewater. I swear this entire factory will be running on sulfuric wastewater. I've got more of it running around this factory than anything else so far. Fun, but at the same time, yeah. We can also use the blue geodes with some more sulfuric acid, to make crystal slurry, and that will be useful in turn for lots of more advanced stuff. In particular, I want to say, let's just go through. Yeah, I want to say we can get through crystal seedlings, and from there, yeah, we can make a lot of the gemstones. So that'll be diamond ore, really? In any case, that's the whole of Angel's processing, but it's a long chain to get there. And one of the first stages is just to get the chunks. So if we get to sapphirite chunks, we can improve our recipes. We can get silicon and nickel if we have the catalyst. We don't have the catalyst yet. ferrous sludge, I suppose. But more importantly, we can start getting silicon and nickel out of this if we want to. We only need hydro refining for it, and it's orange, which means we can probably select it. Hydro. Yeah, it takes 80 though, so we need to get the rest of its flotation cells. That takes up a bunch of room, but we don't have 80 red science packs in reserve yet. So I'm going to need to re-establish first our tin and lead setup, which means we can probably just copy this whole thing now. Well, in fact, not this whole thing, this whole thing. So let's give that a try. We can just grab all of you. We can ignore or remove the... Let's just make sure I grab everything. We can remove the steel bit. You see that little tiny... Well, let me just put that down. The little tiny bit here, we don't need that in it. That's just for this iron setup. That's not going to be any use whatsoever. Which one is it? No. Yes. Okay, so we can set the whole thing back here again. And that will start being constructed. Now, of course, I don't have all of the blast furnaces. That's going to need steel. So blast furnaces, induction smelters, and forecasting machines, which will be straightforward. As you can see, this is already going to be faster than manually placing it by far. So they're all Mark 1s. That's okay. And we need steel and other stuff. What do we need for the blast furnaces? What am I missing? Iron. Lots of iron, which is all going up there right now. So I'm going to grab that, finish this off, and then we'll re-establish the tin and lead line. So our second setup's now in. It does need a few more power... Well, in fact, it may need a few more power poles, a couple of casting machines. Have you finished building those yet? No? Casting machines? I need more basic circuit boards. Fine. No problem. I've switched this. Remember before we had a kind of split setup with a few minor things, both for rubite and bobmonium. Rubite gives us lead, and I've actually got plenty of lead in that box just up there, the very, very top left of the screen. So I need to set up the tin first, which is why we need the bobmonium. And I need to put some copper in you. And you'll start making basic circuit boards again. Yeah, I don't need electronic circuits just yet, but some circuit boards would do. So to do that, you'll see I've got advanced lead smelting on research. Until now, we haven't been able to smelt lead, except by just burning the ore in a furnace. So having the ability to do this in a blast furnace helps us greatly. So now we should be able to select lead, and that's not what this one's for. We also want tin. And that is definitely what this one's for. So advanced tin smelting was already halfway through. And we're going to put another lead sort of setup this side. But as a bonus from all this, we don't just get tin and lead, we also get silicon and nickel, if I remember correctly. So having all of that as both outputs will be very useful for us. Maybe just not yet, but other than that, it should be okay. One thing I did actually want to do here is, because we haven't researched silicon processing, I don't necessarily want to make molten glass with this second half of the setup just yet, so I think I'm just going to box that for now, and we'll just grab from you and tell you to pick up from the belt, and then we'll make sure that's boxed, so it doesn't need to go anywhere. We don't have to select anything for this recipe at all. Yep, there's nothing we can select anyway, so we're just waiting for tin smelting, and then we can select it here. I can't do that just yet. And I don't think I can select these either because, yeah, they're all running off the same research. What you can also see is this crystallizer setup is producing bobmonium, but the input is empty. We don't see those inputs. You can see it just coming through here a little bit. But again, just with double the setup, we've got 10 crystallizers now. We're about to have 15 once I put the third setup in. I'll do that off camera. This does mean that then our setups here are going to be under strain more. So I put more filters into the loop so that more could get processed through this. These are all on, apart from the bottom one. Why do you not have enough inputs? And not enough slag slurry. So yeah, this is all gone back to this setup. So I'm going to have to move this whole chain of things here. Luckily, the only thing we need as an input here is the water, which is purified water coming out of this. and then this setup here, which has got 100 sulfuric acid, because we bulked up this sulfur from here, so we should have plenty of sulfuric acid to get going. And we need slag as well. But the slag is being provided by 2 gigantic setups of crystal electrolyzers, which I'm upgrading. So everything is in place for us to upgrade that and to get it kind of bulked up. And there we go, working tin again with a full blast furnace setup. Again, we're ignoring the silicon for now. We can reset. What's the glass? Glass smelting needs red. Yeah, so we're not ready for that just yet. We will be ready for it soon enough. So the tin's going to make its way around. It's going to hit this line right here, and then I'm just going to need to feed this, obviously with a lot more belt, which I need more iron for, around and into the bottom of this. So this is the only disadvantage. We don't have a full bot network, so we have to have a lot of belts, unfortunately, at least at this sort of early stage of the game. There we go, we've got the tin connection restored. We've got lead coming out of that box up there, but we can always set up another lead setup once I've built up enough landmass out there to build a third one. And pretty much now I'm just going to wait offline to get more resources. I think a lot more needs to pile up. I need iron mainly at the moment, so I just temporarily shut off this line to the tin. We can put that back now, I guess, and always just take it back out if we need to. However, I've moved this setup down, and we're of course going to then be able to scale up this setup, which is going to be coming ultimately from this sulfur machine here we've got going, and then our purified water is coming down here to feed this setup. So I should be able to put in those last 2 if I have enough iron. Doesn't look like I do. That's pretty normal at this stage. I'm always out of iron, but I can scale up that, and we can do that off camera. No need to show that. So yeah, this is probably going to be the furnace setup we're going to use, at least until we've got those other researches that I mentioned to get us to the various flotation cells and the further bits of Angel's refining going on. So yep, pretty happy with it so far. And that's pretty much the end of this episode. Just lots of scaling stuff to get done this episode. We need lots more landmass so that we can reproduce these setups and have a lot more to work with. And that's going to be the name of the game for Seablock, really. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you've got any questions about what you've seen so far, about what you've seen on screen in this episode. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.